congratulations on the new deal. It's just rewards for a job well done in such a short space of time at the club.
Well, I think the only thing that changes for me is I was a new manager and now I'm a manager, and it's a proud moment, especially when you look at the league clubs up and down the country. I think is it 92 managers, so to be selected as one of them is a proud moment, and it's something that I've worked hard for, and I appreciate the commitment and the support that certainly the chairman and the board of directors has shown me.
It's quite a turnaround from where the club was a few months ago when you came in. It's looking bright, isn't it, the future? If you can continue good form going forward, Yeovil Town has got a great future ahead of it with you at the helm.
As you can see, there's a lot of faces in here, and one of the interesting stories as to from where I was coming from was a supporters story, and you know, it was a difficult time, but that happens at football clubs. What I have seen is a group of people now that stood strong, and I'm not just saying it now, but I think it's important as a manager. I've seen the other side of it, and certainly whether it be the chairman, myself, my assistant, the owner, there was unfair criticism, but it was expected. It was a box that I expected to be ticked. What I can say is the support that I've been given as a manager, which I can witness now. As a coach, I couldn't see that. As a manager of this football club, what I've seen is an owner and a chairman with the decision making that's been made to take this football club to the championship. I can be fortunate enough now to be responsible enough to know the backing that's been given at this football club has been immense. Wages have been paid with the amount of staff that turn in at this football club and never been missed, which I think is a very proud moment, certainly me as a player. And it's taken me a long time to say those sort of things, because I feel the trust that the supporters have got in me now, I feel I can say that. And I'm really, really excited about the future, and I know I'm going to get total support.
You say you've got trust from the supporters, but the way the players have reacted under your management, it must be great to know that you've got their trust as well.
Yeah, I mean, I think they believe in me. You could just see there that I kept things simple. They can see trust, and what they see is a manager coming in every morning with passion. And I'm going to say it again, without passion you can't achieve anything. And that's one thing that my players have given me. They've given a real passion for this football club. I think when you wear the badge, I told them, some of them didn't realise why the badge was there, but that is where your heart is, and I wanted them to play with their hearts and heads. And you could see that within an instant that there was a quick change, a real quick change. I was fortunate enough that I knew the environment that I was in, so I knew what I had to change, and I had to change it quick. I had no time, I had to win football matches. And what you could see is you could see people change with you. There'll always be one or two that won't, but it's important if you get the real good core that changes with you, it's surprising what you can achieve.
We spoke earlier, and you're playing Exeter on the weekend, and you said about Paul Tisdale, and if you can emulate even half of what he's achieved in football, then that would be a great achievement for you.
It would be a fantastic achievement, but having said that, I feel quite lucky that it takes a loyal chairman to stick by you, and football's full of ups and downs, and there's one thing that Paul Tisdale's had, he's had support from above, and but I don't think you'll see that too far up and down the country now, just because of the way football is. It's a highly pressurised game, and you've got to win football matches, I'm afraid, and that's one thing I'm proud of. I've dealt with the pressure. Like, we started off on 11 points, we're now on 43, and we've done it in a short space of time.
Sometimes when a chairman introduces a new manager, they come out with the same old cliches, but what you said about Darren was from the heart, it was passionate, and you clearly have the complete backing.
Well, I think the club it's a special club. It's very close to its employees. We've had to work without, as Darren has said, 105 years in non-league. Teaches you a lot. Well, I've been here that long. But we've had some great people, great managers come out of this football club. You just mentioned Town. There's McDermott at Reading. There's Alan Partridge, he was here. And recently we've had Nathan Jones, who's at Luton, and we've got Lee Johnson at Bristol City, and we've got Darren Way. What I like about Darren, he's got everything to make a first-class manager, excellent manager for a club of this size, and he will progress on. If he does well with us, this guy watches, he'll be a top manager in some part of in the country. And he's got the fighting spirit. That's what made me emotional just now. He fights all the way, and this club is known to be cup fighters. Its history started with cups, and you know, we've had to fight our way out of a relegation situation. Any club that's come down from a championship, it's very few clubs of our size managed to get into the championship. And what the fans don't appreciate is the drop in revenues with the contractual problems within football. It takes a lot to be loyal to people, to keep fighting against the fans' wishes, and especially if you're losing matches. You've got to be patient. This guy's not going to turn it around like he's done all the time overnight. There's going to be periods where we're going to get difficult times. We're asking our supporters, we know you're going through a difficult time, but we've asked to ask for a little bit more money in order to get the budgets at this level now, because we're strictly under regulations from the Football League, and that is extremely difficult. They're trying to shake clubs out in accordance with their ability to turn over the money, the revenues, and so forth. And we're fighting against that. We're fighting all the way with our sponsors and getting the right sponsors here, and Darren will be the right players. And with our academy, which is an important part now of the future, and part of that is the emergency loan system's changed within football, and it's all become very expensive. And you know, the restriction on the emergency loans at the end of this season is such that we're going to have to bring more and more of our players on here at Yeovil Town through the academy, and that will take time. That's not overnight success. It takes 3 or 4 or 5 years to get youngsters up to the required standard in league. And by the way, the standards are going up every year. This year, I swear that the standard at League 2 is Standard 1 last year. League 1 last year. And League 1 is Championship standard in players. And because players are finding it difficult numbers in the Championship. And someone said to me the other day, if we exit from the EU, 3/4 of the players in the Premier League teams will have to go back to their own countries because they wouldn't have a work permit. And you know, we're benefiting from the shakeout of the Premiership with the quality of players that are now coming down into the Football League. So, you know, and I'd say again to the supporters groups here, you know, you need to keep communicating. We need to keep communicating with you. This guy's going to do it. He's for the fans, and we've got 2 or 3 meetings, 3 or 4 meetings with different groups over the next few weeks to negotiate with you, to talk to the fans about how we can improve things from your point of view. And Darren will be at those meetings.
I was very interested in you explaining to some of the young guys here what you look for. What do you think some of the biggest mistakes that aspiring young footballers like we have around here make when they come to you or people like you for a job?
I think, like anything, it's sometimes players develop a lot quicker than others. What I find is, how much do they really want it? Simple. How much as a young player do you really want it? Now, you're in a different development than what I was in because of social media. Social media now is a big thing. You're talking about Facebook, you're talking about Twitter. Now, what you see is, you see a lot of young players now, even whether it's my son, there'll be a lot of times where you're on the phone, and a lot of that time spent, and I'd love for someone to analyse it as a young lad being brought up now in this system, of how many times you are sat on that phone, and what are you looking at, and what are you putting on there? Because I'm a great believer of when you go back to the old school, there was nothing else apart from go out in the backyard and kick a ball for 4 hours. Well, that's starting to change. One, training load times as a young age, and it's important to let a young player express themselves. And you know, I think it's easy now to become a robot in the modern game. We play like this, we play like that. Now just run up and down the pitch and enjoy it, lads. And if you're not, 9 times out of 10 you won't play on my team. And it's as pretty as simple as that, really. Because if you take that expression out of what actually made them the player they are, then they start to do different things that they're not used to. And you sort of embed that in them, whether that be a work colleague working into my environment straight away. If I said, look, this is how I work, it may scare the life out of him and he may take a U-turn and march out again. But no, listen, we can do it like this and we can do it like that. And then it's up to how they respond. But what they have to see is they have to see clear, simple instructions. And at times, like anything, you've got to be forceful. And that's one thing I've been with my players, at the right time.
Well, Darren, you're in quite a unique position at this club because you were a player here and a coach here. How much of an edge does that give you now as a manager?
As I said earlier, I led the team out as captain, and it took so many years to gain league status. I was part of that. And now all of a sudden, as a coach, feeling like I've been thrown out of a plane with no parachute, someone's actually allowed me now to pull it and save it. And I feel very honoured to be given that opportunity, but at the same time, I feel like I've deserved it. I've worked hard behind the scenes, and I've sort of kept my head down. But that hard work, that passion, that commitment, I think is saved so far in the close objective of remaining its league status. And there's enough people in here to know the consequences of going into conference. And I was going to stop that. And I had to be bold and I had to be brave with what I said, because I know as a manager you get one shot, and I wasn't going to let that one shot fail for me to sit here now. The hard work's just starting right now. This is where it starts. Because as I said to you before I was a new manager, now I'm a manager. But I have to keep it simple, but I have to make sure I get people following me in the right way.
And you've stopped the downward spiral, you've brought some stability back to the team, and now you've committed to the 3-year contract. What are your targets now in the short and long term for the club?
I think my future for the football club, as the chairman just touched on, and I'm going to take responsibility for that, is one, budgets. Of course, it's going to be difficult, but there's enough there to work with. And what you've seen is I don't want to be the manager that says we haven't got this and we haven't got that. Now, this is a fantastic football club that everything's been provided for it to be successful, which is why we ended up in the championship. For whatever reason, we've hit a little bit of adversity. Now it's time to stay strong, stick together, and keep saying it, achieved by unity. We got to build this club back up again. And I ain't going to do that by myself. But what I am going to do is I'm going to become the leader that's going to drive that, to get it back to where it belongs. Now, people say as managers, and I keep saying it, they're only here 5 minutes. No, I've been here 16 years already. I'm not deciding to all of a sudden get up, walk out, and then it's finished. I've got a project to do. We just talked about Paul Tisdale. We talked about Eddie Howe. People that I've got a lot of respect for, that emotionally are attached to the football club, that have played for the football clubs, that wear their football club badge with pride. I'm saying now, I want to be able to build this club back up, and the academy's going to be a massive part of that.